Real Rukshan here, guys, with Avi Yemini from Rebel News Australia. What a 2 nights it has been here in Melbourne. We've had candidates for the Senate from Victoria, candidates for the Senate from New South Wales, and we have seen here in Melbourne democracy in action. And that is because we've allowed the candidates who are running to represent you, Australia, to have their voices heard.
And we deserve better than this. And I'm running because I'm going to stand up and make sure we get better than this.
Everyone's not going to do well out of this. Everyone's not going to be happy. But that's a risk we need to take.
It's been left to us because the mainstream media have not given them a platform, have not allowed you, the people at home, the voters who this month are going to decide the destiny of our nation. They have not allowed you to hear from them. So over 2 nights, we've had Senate debates here in Melbourne of all the freedom parties.
In 6 months' time and think, gee, we elected these freedom candidates and they weren't up to being, intelligent and powerful advocates for the freedom movement.
Well, John, I've got thick skin anyway, so I'm pleased you made a bit of a brash statement there, but look, it doesn't worry me. That's why I would be good in Parliament, in the Senate, because it doesn't worry me what people say about me.
I don't know how they've left it to us, because they're saying that 29% of voters are thinking about voting independent this year. So where's the representation?
Well, the media's just been focusing on these fake independents called the teal independents, and they've been promoting them, hoping that you vote for them, thinking you're voting for freedom. I truly believe that. So over 2 days, we filmed it. Over 2 days, we will present it. You obviously came from UAP. You are in UAP. You say it didn't suit you. A lot of the things you're talking about sound the same. So what didn't suit you about the UAP?
Didn't feel right to me. And if anybody told me you can't talk about A, B or C or you're out, I would tell that person to get stuffed like anybody else.
We are part of a bigger machine, right? And he's an individual, he wants to be an individual, and that's fine for him. But in order to make change in the country, in order to make a difference, you have to have the majority in the lower house. And you're not going to do that by being a lone wolf.
All that stuff didn't stop just because COVID happened. I mean, I'm sure you saw the public order response team shooting rubber bullets and stuff at failed actors, and then I'm just kidding.
I thought we were keeping this friendly. Gloves are off.
And it's up to you guys at home to share it. It'll go across all our platforms, and it's brought to you by The Real Rukshan and Rebel News at ozdecides.com and on all our pages. Watch this space. Thursday, Friday night, they will be streamed, and it's up to you to get their voices out.
I don't think we were unsuccessful at all. In fact, I think that part of what we were doing is building a movement.
Which I felt was a breach of our constitution and our natural inherent right to be able to choose what goes into our body.
Well, where are these jobs coming from? They're coming from people who are stood down, good people, good Australian, hard-working, tax-paying people.
I would not be comfortable.
And more importantly than all that, when you fire the entire ABC board, who will you put in charge, me or Rukshan? We want to thank all the candidates that were brave enough here to have an actual open discussion, at times a little bit hairy, but we got to see that point of difference.
Sorry, excuse me. Do you think they're getting a good deal off the banks? I don't think they're getting a good deal off the banks.
But that's not the question, that's not the issue, is it? It's not the Senate that people are talking about. It's marginal seats where dodgy deals are being done to try and accrue power. Is that okay? Because it's a manipulation of the system as it's always been manipulated? Maybe that's fine, but that's the point, isn't it? Not the Senate.
It's very important for those of you watching at home to share this out, because these voices have not been heard. So make sure you share it with your family. Anyone that's talked to you and considered voting for an independent or a minor party, they need to hear these voices. So I urge you again to share this out and get it far and wide.
I think in this country we should all have a fair idea on what freedoms are and where those boundaries are. The reality is, if people don't understand that in this day and age, then we have a problem with our education system. And I think
to establish a beachhead into our parliament, a beachhead of freedom.
Bills and laws should be ultimately decided by the citizens of this country, not a couple of people sitting in a crossbench of an upper house in some parliament in Australia.
Well, because they're not following a truly scientific position. So therefore they can be negated. Brett Sutton is not a credible authority
are they actually the laws? In which case they need to be debated. But that's where freedom of speech comes in, where you have the freedom to talk and the freedom to be offended.
You must never make the freedom of speech criminal in the Bill of Rights. The freedom of movement will be in the Bill of Rights. The freedom to choose your own medical treatments will be in the Bill of Rights.
Economic freedom, reducing the size of the government, reducing taxation.
I've had every vaccine known to man, so for those who might jump out and go, oh, this bloke, is an anti-vaxxer, no, I'm not.
We've been at the forefront of defence of liberties in Victoria.
And for those of you that do appreciate what we've done here, Ostracise.com help us fund the work we do. You can wait till you see what we've organised, and I think, you know what, personally, I found it worth it. In fact, I've seen for myself now the point of difference.
I've never been called a socialist before.